Hello and welcome to the OCVarsity Gridiron Extra Show, Week 0. This is our first show of the new year where we will be talking about hot topics in the football season. Guys, the football year is upon us. Yep. This is Steve Fryer, by the way. This is Dan Albano. I am Jonathan Khamis. We are talking toughest non-league schedules heading into league eventually, but I'll go ahead and start, gentlemen, and I got to pick the blue team out of La Habra, the Clan, the Highlanders. La Habra, get this, guys. They start at El Toro. They host Mission Viejo. Then they're at Los Al and at Colony, who was a CIF champion last season. But we all expect La Habra to be really good, but I love the way they test themselves in the preseason. One of the best public schools in the county, and that's been that way for a number of years. Steve, which team do you have?
Well, I'm really intrigued by Orange Lutheran's schedule this year. My golly, they're playing Crespi, they're playing Domingos to open. We also got Vista Murrieta in there, De La Salle, Centennial. Those De La Salle and Centennial played each other in the Open Division State Championship game, so that's a pretty nasty schedule right there. Oh, and then they got Open League against Mater Dei, so that's a tough one that Coach Peterson's put together over there at Orange Lutheran. But, a lot of these schedules are the way they are because sometimes if you're a quality team, you have a hard time finding somebody who's willing to play you. So sometimes it's the same teams that are playing the same schedules every gosh darn week.
Okay, Dan was going to go with Olu, but thanks for stealing his thunder, Steve. Dan, who else you got?
Well, hey, I agree with personally, Orange Lutheran I think they had the toughest schedule because they actually, before they play the Centennial, De La Salle, and Vista Murrieta, they play at Crespi as well. Another Pac-5 contender to watch out for. But, I think the only school that can rival them, and you can make the argument that Servite it has the schedule to rival Orange Lutheran as well, where they play at Bishop Ammont, they play at De La Salle, which they played De La Salle last year, they play Edison once again, and they also play at Bishop Gorman. So, and you could probably say it's the hardest schedule for Servite because, not only that, you got the two national teams like De La Salle and Bishop Gorman, but so does Orange Lutheran, has national teams with Centennial and De La Salle as well. But for Servite, they have the whole new coaching staff. They're walking in, Coach Scott Meyer and his staff that he's assembling, he's walking in from day one. This is his schedule, first year. I mean, that is brutal.
And I think a couple of those big ones are away games, Dan.
Yeah, I think three of those, at Ammont, at De La Salle, at Bishop Gorman. Very tough challenge for Coach Scott Meyer in his very first year. And I think Servite. I think Servite's going to be better than some people think. I don't think the cover.
They went 4-7 last year.
Very tough schedule, and that's why, and that is a big part. And they might be a similar record this year. And some people, but that's when you play this kind of schedule. If that's and you're inexperienced and you're trying to rebuild that program a little bit, that is what's going to happen. But they're going to be a tough team.
Steve, you had something to add?
Yeah, we gotta tip the cap to the guys right behind us, yes. Edison. How many public schools are willing to play Mater Dei or Servite? These guys play Mater Dei and Servite back-to-back weeks, and they got Tesoro in that opening game, which might be a county top 10 team. We'll reveal that later on in the week. Got to say some cheers to these guys over here, and heck, Mission Viejo they're playing Liberty. That's a state top 20 team. So and then they got to go to Redondo and play. That's pretty good too. So it's some interesting schedules out there. It's going to be a fun non-league time.
Dan, closing remarks.
Yeah, Edison's also playing Buena Park.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these guys, coaches, they're doing this because they're trying to get their programs better. They think get them ready for league. And one team I'll give a shout out to that's playing Edison this year is Canyon out of the Southern Division. And that's a really huge game for Coach Ogus and Canyon. Coach Ogus is actually alumnus of Edison, and he played for Coach White. They're buddies. And but I talked to Coach Ogus at Canyon, and they're trying to get ready for the North Hills and the Southern playoffs, and I think they're going to be a team that's going to really surprise. And like last year, Canyon, they started off winless. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was several losses. Then they caught fire in league and the playoffs, and they made a run to the semifinals. Yeah, that's right. They can maybe take another step this year. And, sports writers, we love big games right away.
Yes, we do.
Yep, it's a lot of fun for everyone to play in, cover, all that good stuff. Our thanks to Dan Albano and Steve Fryer. For all your latest football information, check out OCVarsity.com, where we've got you covered.